Hello, everybody. Welcome to PlayBox Neo Web Sessions 2022. I'm very excited that this year we managed to get together for a couple of industry shows like NAB Las Vegas in April, IBC in Amsterdam in September, and just this past week, NAB New York. We are very happy that we finally, after a long time, we can still get together and see each other face to face, talk more about our technology products, and in general, just say hello. For those of you who managed to attend our live events, thank you sincerely from the whole team here at PlayBox Neo. And for those that were unable to attend those events, we tried to keep the connection going with these webinars. So today's webinar, I just want to mention a couple of announcements we made first at the trade show at IBC Amsterdam. This was the Media Gateway multi-format routing and distribution processor solution. This is based on our PlayBox Neo Suite platform. So you've seen a little bits and pieces back throughout the last year, but this is the official announcement of this solution. So today's webinar will be focused predominantly on that. So you can see what's new, see some of the cool features and how you can, benefit from this product. Also, Capture Suite was announced as a, ingest processor, which works integrated in this whole system. The PlayBox Neo platform, PlayBox Neo Suite platform, consists of many of these modules, and they work seamlessly with each other as a one big solution. Airbox had a new enhancements and improvements, mainly communicating and working seamlessly with this platform. Titlebox had some improvements, DVB subtitle server. Also, you can check this on our website and see more details, or just call our sales representatives or our support guys if you have particular technical or sales question, and they'll take care of it. So let me just start by sharing my screen with you, and I will start with a workflow diagram that we all had at you've seen probably at our website, the Media Gateway workflow. I will focus on this, as I mentioned. Media Gateway actually gives you the capability of handling signals that we kind of split them in two type of domains: the uncompressed domain, where we put there the SDIs, the NDI. We have screen source capture. If you haven't seen this, this is our own utility. You can capture the screen and you can, use it as a video source throughout your whole system. If you checked our how-to demo videos, they're all captured with this tool, actually. You can use virtual sources, which are, let's say, the air boxes I have on this machine, they appear as a virtual source. You'll see this shortly. And then there are the compressed domain formats, which are mainly streaming services, different protocols, UDP, RTP, SRT, input and outputs. And we have also switch groups, which can be automatic or manual. And what switch groups are is basically failover service. You can set a group of main and backup, and if the signal is lost, or there is a freeze frame, or any of like a video PID is not showing or something like that, it will switch to the backup. I'll focus on this and how you can see the alerts in our multi-viewer that is part of this solution. You can also take, in order to see it on the multi-viewer, you can use the decoders inside the system to decode all of these streams that are passing, otherwise just passing unchanged through the system if you want to just route them. And you can, this way, once they're decoded, you can change the format to the uncompressed domain. Let's say put SDI output. For example, this is how I have the TV screen behind me on the wall. It's converting one of the sources in the system to a physical SDI. In very near future, we will have also encoders, so you can take signals from the uncompressed domain, encode them, and distribute them as a formats, as a compressed formats. But this is coming soon, so I'm just mentioning it because it's part of the infrastructure. Let me just put this here to the side. I'll briefly go over the new suite. It's accessible via web browser, Chrome, or the new Edge browser in Windows. You can control local server or multiple servers somewhere on your domain. It works exactly the same way. I'll just briefly go over the new suite platform so you understand where we are with the topic of today, the media gateway. So first, when I go to the dashboard, I see the servers I have assigned to this instance here that I'm monitoring. I can add more servers if I want to. This is the one server I have, gives me information of CPU load, RAM usage, and how many storages are assigned to this server. I need the storages to do the ingest. Second, I have the ingest instances. That depends on how many licenses you have. So the ingest instances can work in manual mode or in schedule mode. They ingest different, simultaneously different formats. Let's say you do your main format and you do mezzanine format for other distribution on your network, or MPEG-4 for web, and MXF for video editing, and so on. You can do splits, you know, all of the expected features. We've done videos on that subject, so please check our website. You can see in detail, and maybe we'll, once there are more new stuff, we'll put probably be the subject of a new webinar. And you can see the multi-viewer. These are basically all of the decoded signals that I have for SDI signals on the system. I'll go in details in a second. This is what I'm seeing here. If you look at the diagram, the multi-viewer, and you can see the uncompressed and the decoded signals. I'll just go back for a second to the first tab, the server. In the settings of the server, I can go and select alarm settings. There are two detections: black signal for how many seconds, 5 I have it set, or freeze frame, frozen frame. So these are my settings, and you will see how they work shortly. For example, I can open my multi-viewer here again. So you see I can open multiple windows and have a different stuff on them. Let's say I will see my input outputs here on this tab, and I can open another window and have my multi-viewer. So this is very, very convenient. I can put this on another screen if I had a multi-monitor system, open it full screen, and I have my multi-viewer to see big number of channels. As you can see, all the channels have alarm settings: enable alarm or disable. This pretends to the audible alarm. I can have an alarm that creates sound, like here you can see. If I enable this, I will hear beeping tone on the computer if that's desirable. In this case, I'll go just with the visual, and how the visual alert looks like. Let me just open my first airbox. So take a look at this screen here. This is the airbox 1 server. I will just press pause. You will see with a slight delay because this is an encoded signal to encoder. So there is a slight delay. This got frozen. We're waiting for 5 seconds and you will see says freeze detected and immediately switch to my backup channel, which is airbox 2. I'll show you how all this setup is designed and how it's fairly easy to set up. This is my second instance that I'm just playing one file so we can distinguish the main and backup clearly. Now I can go and just start this file again. You will see the freeze alert will clear. Again, the delay is because I have outputting from this machine a transport stream, SRT transport stream to the system. So let's go and look at the system, how at the place where I'm setting up my input, outputs, sources, destinations, and so on. First tab, I will take a look at services. These are the available services on the server currently that we support. The NDI service shows me versions and stuff if I need. This is just a technical place to check stuff. The Blackmagic design cards, I can quickly take a look and see what cards I have on the system. And for example, I have 2 cards on this system, the Decklink Extreme, and it's very handy. Once you select the card, we can see what mode is in. You know, the Blackmagic cards, you can, on some of them, you can make a decision, are those inputs or outputs or input and output. So you set up this stuff here in the profile, and also gives you an idea to see the physical layout of the card, because there are so many cards, we always can remember which connector is on the back of the machine. Very handy feature. So if I go, you will see here I have one in yellow because tells me there's a missing driver for AJA card, because I don't have AJA card on this machine installed. We support AJA also. Virtual IO, this is, as I mentioned, this is the outputs of the airboxes on the same server. Let me just hide this. And streaming, this is the services that are available currently. UDP, RTP, and SRT protocols are supported on the media gateway system. The media gateway gives you the opportunity to define these sources here. Basically, the inputs I have here are decoded inputs. If I go here at the streaming tab, this will show my streaming sources. I have 2 streaming sources, the SRTs from Airbox 1 and 2. For example, you can see here, and I have one, the failover switch also as another source. So basically I have main and backup, but I'm always sending somewhere the signal from the switch, right? From the resulting signal from the failover switch. Also, as you can see here, I have radio. What is radio? This is a new feature. We're allowed to put like a HTTP link to an online radio, and you can give it a service name and so on. So it converts to a proper transport audio stream, and it can be used, set somewhere in satellite, Muxer, and so on. Also, we use this feature for the service, the emergency alert system that is mandatory in some places in the United States. We support this. Basically, it's a string like this. Airbox has it as it's simple to set. here to enable the audio. So in the moment when the signal comes, mutes the audio of the airbox of whatever plays currently in the playlist, and title box will kick in the message as an overlay, and the audio will come from the emergency alert system. So we support this as a new feature at IBC 2022. Connects to the DASDEC servers that are supplied and works seamlessly. But also you can have radio and route it through the system any way you want. So I have the two SRT signals here, and I have my switch. Destinations. I can set two more destinations, and let's say I want to send the same SRT stream without re-encoding it, but just in a different format to a different locations. Let's say RTP for some media services online, and UDP in my local network for some other use. And this way I create the destinations. You can see it's fairly simple. I tell them from which interface. Currently these are all locally here on my machine port, and that's it. And as you can see here, this is the way we patch things like a router in the system. This works here. I can select which, let me just expand this a little bit. So I take the airbox switch output as a source for these two destinations. Therefore, I'm just using one signal, which is always the main or backup from the two servers I have, and I can redistribute it in two different protocols other than the protocol I have it already running, the SRT, within the system. So this way you don't need to put some other devices, you don't need to put some converters. I can export it also as a, I can add outputs as SDI like I have here, and you can see the same thing. I have the output of this switch, which are streams right now. I don't physically have SDIs coming from these two servers. They're just SRT streams, and I can send them out to the screen like the one behind me. So I have this video card, this particular port number 4. You can see all the settings here if you need. It's called SDI over the shoulder. And I'm taking the stream and outputting it through this signal. Again, I have from one machine to the other another SDI signal just to have some more signals here on the system for demo purposes. But basically one card from one instance an airbox plays and gets as an input. So I can use it also as an ingest or just as a live input in one of the airbox playlists. But this is something very normal. So here I have all of these services decoded, so I can see them here on my multi-viewer. I have the output of the switch. I have the two streams, the SRT streams coming from airbox 1 and 2. I have the virtual outputs 1 and 2 from the airboxes, not the streams. I can take this and let's say I take this uncompressed signal and I can send it straight to SDI, and I'll have uncompressed signal pass through SDI. I have the SDI in from the other cards as I described to you. So let's go now to our switches. These are the backup switches. As I show you, if there is a freeze detected or black frame, it will switch automatically. You can also do manual switching. You will see how, for example, I'm using right now manual switching. In this case, once you see this is airbox 1 and 2, they're in the switch group. You can put any title you wish. And here are my inputs, main and backup. But let's say here, I give it a title. I decide what kind of switching, automatic or manual. I can put switch group. So these are the SRTs from the one and the second instance one and instance two. I can put limitations of the bandwidth. Let's say if this is a streaming, like in this case, this is a streaming source. And if it exceeds the out of the boundaries of minimum and maximum, then the switch will happen, because sometimes you can have a stream coming from somewhere, and if it starts exceeding the bandwidth, that's not proper to send further down the line to other devices, because they may not function as intended. So you can do also sort of a precautionary thing here and do a switch between the main or backup if one exceeds these boundaries of the bandwidth, which is a very handy feature. Okay, so we can go here and see in the properties if the decoder that decodes the stream, in order for me to monitor it and see the alerts and stuff, if there is like a missing stream or something, I have it enabled, so this will also propagate switching. If there is no data on the video PID, like something happened in the muxer and or an audio channel got dropped or something, again, that can invoke switching, which is very, very cool feature. I can have more than one pair of signals for the switching. Let's say if this is my machine has, let's say, high bit rate and low bit rate output or something like this, I can put both groups and just switch them at the same time. I'll just add another switch, give it a title, high bit rate, and create a switch group again. I'm not going to do it now. So you've seen how I switched when I froze my main channel, Airbox 1. I switched to the backup, Airbox 2. And after we reestablish again the playout on instance 1, I'm still on the backup server. So it will stay on this server unless something happens with the signal on this backup server. So I will emulate something happening on the backup of this server. So I'll pause it. You will see in a second freezing. So this 5 seconds, I have longer times here so I can talk and explain. So now you can see it switched again. It will go in, it will switch the stream to the main. But let's say let me just play this again. The freeze will be cleared once the signal is established. Again, there is a slight delay because there is encoding involved here with these signals. And let's say I want to do, for maintenance purposes, switch to the backup. Then I can just go here, push backup. This little triangle here in the corner tells me that I chose new value, and then I can say take. When I press take, it switches to the other stream and starts re-encoding it as my output. Also, same way, if you're on the backup server, you started your failed main server, everything is okay. Here, you want to move back to the main server, then we just go here, select main, and say take. This is the way everything can be switched in the system. As I said, for example, here, this is the screen behind me on the wall. I said before, I have the post failover switch decoded signal, but I can select anything else I want. I can select, let's say, the SDI that I have from the one instance to the other. Again, the little red triangle shows me that I've changed this. So I can say take, and then the signal change, but actually this is the same signal from the same server. Let me select something else. I will select, right now you see this is instance 1 behind me on the screen. So I will select Airbox 2 and say take, and you can see the band is behind me right now on the wall, but I will say, let me just go to the failover switch and monitor that on the wall behind me. So you see how easily and quickly this switches. So this is pretty much what I wanted to show you, how to use the very versatile system with lots of streaming sources, streaming destinations. We just change the transport of a stream without re-encoding it. Once we introduce encoders into the system, then you can re-encode it in a different format, let's say HD into 4K, H.264 into HEVC, H.265, and so on. Whatever is supported on the system as an encoder will be supported, obviously, here. Switches I've shown you. So at this point, I would like to open the floor for questions and answers. Please use the Q&A dialogue. This will allow us all to see the questions. I'll read them loud. I have my colleagues also are online, so they will help with some particular questions if I don't know the answer. Of course, I don't know all the answers. If you come up with question after this webinar, this will be posted shortly on our YouTube channel. But if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact our support, our sales representatives. We're always available to help. We've put a number of how-to videos also on our website, on the YouTube channel, so you can go and check it. There's a lot of diagrams and information on the site. Again, we love to hear from you. And how many we have at the multiverse? You mean how many channels you can see? You can see here as meters. I believe it's 8, and then you have to switch to see the other channels. You have to switch to see the other channels. I had a question: how many audio channels can be seen here in the multiviewer? There are 8 here, and then you have to switch. You see, 1 to 8, 9 to 16. I have to switch a second page because 16 channels will be too much to watch simultaneously. Okay. It's clean. Currently, there is no detection of audio. That's something that will come down the line probably. We're talking about this feature. Currently, the detections on the signal are missing completely. As I showed you in the streaming signal, as a PID if completely is omitted. Or if the video signal freezes. Currently on missing audio becomes very hard to describe. What do you mean? What constitute missing audio? The first audio channel or any of the 16s or particular channel? Becomes too many scenarios. We have to figure out what's the best, how to say, implementation of this, and then figure out way to make it sort of valid case for everybody. What's the minimum seconds? I mean, you can put it to 1 second, but I mean, sometimes, let's say if you put a black detection, you can have just black video signal, you know, in the like a 1 second frame in the video stream, and that will trigger a switch over. So that's not wanted feature. Frozen frame, again, you can have a frozen picture for, you know, for some time on the screen. Again, you don't want to do this. Okay, we don't want to do okay, so let me just go one by one on this. Okay, so the question about the view meters, I answered, guys. You can see in groups of 8, all 16 channels. Okay. If it's if the system supports Dolby or tracks, if it's decoded by the system, you can see it here. This is what the playout decodes. So yes, the minimum seconds, I explained how basically you need to be cautious if you go for the frozen or black frame, but missing something happening in the decoder or missing video PID numbers, this will switch out immediately. It's going to happen when the system detects that. So the decoder detects that. So it's two different things, the frozen and the black frame, because again, there can be easily the system can do false positive by just the content can have a frozen signal and so on. Okay. Can the failover be set to automatically go back to the main once the error clears? We've discussed that, but we don't think it's very good because you can reestablish the main, but what constitutes proper operation on the main? You can just have it starting again, and after 5 seconds again dropping, and so on, which will be a lot of switching back and forth. To you see, this is not a seamless switching, it's not spliced stream. You'll have a lot of switches, and then the devices down the road will not be happy to so often switch between the two signals. That's why we decided right now to make the recovery to be manual. Sort of, you switch to the backup, it's not going to switch back unless the backup fails, and then we'll try to go back to the main. But otherwise, once the person who is alerted that something happened, you can see audible or visual alert, as I demonstrated. Once he establishes that everything is okay on the main server, it's in time playing, and all of this goes and manually switches it. This is the workflow we have set up right now. If there is a big demand of automatic switching, we have to figure out what's the best implementation again, so there's not constant switching back and forth. Because automatically, I mean, somebody has to put again the main server back in order. It's not going to magically start working again or something. I don't know. It's better to have a little bit of control over this situation. So this is how it's set up right now. Okay, we'll take this into consideration and still thinking how to implement new options and features. Media gateway is not on. I have a question. Media gateway, is it similar to an automatic changeover? This is one of the functions that I've been kind of concentrating and showing today, but mainly the whole media gateway, think of it as a routing distribution processor, because mainly is to be able to route, rewrap, change protocols on signals, change from SDI to streaming, from streaming to SDI, domain, and so on and so forth. This is the idea behind this. It's not just simply the failover switches. This is one of the functions of many functions that this performs. Think of it, this is your centralized hub where you get all these signals. You can freely route them. You can change the formats. You can do the decoding of signals, monitoring, I can have on a same multi-viewer multiple servers. For example, here you can see I have one server, but I can add more servers that are seen in my local network here, and I can see multi-viewer on the same screen of multiple servers. I can organize this as a let me switch here to my multi-viewer. I can select some of this not to be seen on the screen. Let's say I don't want to see these two direct outputs, the virtual outputs of the servers. I only want to see the decoded stream, which is the SRTs of the two. I want to see the SDI coming from the main system. I have SDI signal here also coming. And I want to see my failover switch, for example. And again, I can enable the system to alert me with audible alert. Let's say I'll go here and pause this. Probably you hear it in my microphone. In a sec. Oh, but probably I had it. I had this. I had this disabled here on. Of course, yeah. I have to enable it here. So I can hear it. I can hear audible alert if I want to. Okay. So we covered. Let me just kind of do a brief resume of what we want. Okay, there is a question: how many clients can connect to one server, and how many ingest can one server support? The number of ingest channels is always a function of resources. How many video cards, because we support it assisted by GPU encoding and so on. So it's basically as much as the server can handle. How many clients can be connected? Currently, we have this generalized interface, but there will be users with rights and permissions down the road to what part of the system, which server, which functions on the server. Let's say I can be only a person that have rights to monitor, but not to do, let's say, ingest and so on and so forth. But currently, I can have as many in my organization here, and I can have access to all the servers assigned to this instance of interface. Basically, as many servers are assigned, this is a feature that is admin locked. So when, let's say I had here currently, it's only one server assigned, so I have access to this one server, but we can be a number of people here on the local network that can have access to the multi-viewer, let's say, and some of the features. Okay. Also, you can use this as even if you have single server channel in a box scenario, you can have this on one machine, and you can use it as a multi-viewer to the single channel airbox, but you can just see if it outputs different formats, let's say 2 different streams and SDI. You can see this. You can see your incoming video signals on the SDI ports or streamings. So I can monitor basically what's coming to this machine. You can see here in this instance, for example, in this instance of the monitoring, you're asking me how many clients. In this instance of the monitoring, I have only 4 signals I want to watch because I'm operator A and I care about only these signals. But in the other window, on the other tab I have here on the browser, I have all of the available signals, as you can see. So it's very flexible. Thank you, Van. Glad to hear from you guys. So let me kind of please check with our on our website, and our support staff. They will talk to you, and they will tell you it's the demand is not, it's a normal server, normal machine. It's not with that high demand, because this is just the gateway to monitor. It does not do processing. I mean, the processing is watching multiple streams and stuff as a data, sort of as a viewer, but you can get exactly that information, or please just drop us an email, and our support guys will give you the exact technical details. I just don't have them on hand in front of me, sorry. Okay, thank you very much for participating. Thank you very much, guys, for your questions. Again, there are some how-to videos, how to set up different aspects of this stuff that we're talking about. We will update those, because by adding new features and stuff, obviously we have to keep on adding of these how-to video manuals. You can always, again, talk to our support guys. If you have a system you consider upgrading, again, just talk to your sales rep, talk to our guys. They will assess what you have in the system, give you the exact information of how many resources you have, what you can achieve with that. Do you need a little bit simple upgrade of video cards, NVIDIA cards, so you support encoding, decoding, and so on and so forth. As I mentioned, all these streams, somebody asked me about latency. How much is the latency on the system? Depends what we're looking at, but for example, this streaming destinations. So for example, just this rewrapping of the stream, it's 0.13 milliseconds is the delay, just rewrapping. This is the buffer. SDI to SDI, the buffer is, if we don't decode it and then, you know, do stuff, just straight past patching through the system, is about 6 frames, I believe. So it's very reasonable, like pretty much every other device. You know, with streaming, you have buffers, you have different structure of the GOP structure of the encoder, so they cannot be instantaneous, like short delays like SDI signals, but they're so versatile in means of distribution and sending them all over the world. Again, we support SRT as a listener, caller, so on. You can use this format to create secure connections between different locations, between different continents, and so on. So thank you again. Thank you for your questions. If any questions arise, please drop us a line. We love to hear from you. We love to keep on going with this form of communication. And I hope to see you at our next webinar, and we'll discuss again what's new, what's exciting, and what's happening with your systems and how we can help. Cheers, have a good one, and I'll see you soon.